Good morning and welcome back to Flashback Friday, where today we're going to be continuing our look at the Renegade Legion series of games. And today we're going to take a look at the Leviathan Capital Ship Briefing, released in 1989. Now, this is similar to other products that were released by FASA at the time. They would put out a game and then they would release what they call, well, for Battletech, it was a technical readout. For Interceptor, it was the ship briefings. And basically, it was a way to expand the game, give you new units that you could play with, different weapon loadouts, things like that. And this is no different. It's another book, but in this case, it's focusing on the capital ships. So whereas the original book gave you about 8 ships per faction, the Renegade Legion and the Terran Overlord Government, this is going to give you significantly more. Now, if you are looking for this on the secondary market, you do need to be aware this is probably the rarest book in the collection because, to be honest with you, well, number one, that's what I've heard everywhere, and number two, typically you are going to see this going for north of $100, closer to $200 if you're looking to pick it up. I lucked out in that I was able to pay a significantly lower amount, but as we get into the video, you'll kind of understand why I was able to pay a little bit less. But that's neither here nor there. So, before we get started, do make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few different videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content, whether it's board games, card games, miniatures, role-playing games, anything in between. And I'd love for you to come along and see what I have to share. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the Leviathan Capital Ship Briefing. All right, so this is my copy of the Capital Ship Briefing. Please forgive the glare, but it is it's in a rough state. Which, let's be honest, that is the reason that I was able to get it for the deal that I did. We've got a crease over here. We've got discolored pages, but you know what? I kind of don't mind. I could be a collector. I could say, oh, this needs to be perfect. But to be honest with you, this was a loved copy. Somebody used this. Somebody enjoyed this. Everything is here. There is one page that is loose. It is here in the very back of the book, but I still have it. But again, I had many books like this in my day, so I really don't mind. But first off, for the cover, I do want to start off. I absolutely love the art, the design, showing off the capital ships with some of the interceptors, but then also sort of just this. How do I want to put it? Sort of like the old Star Wars technical manuals, where they'll describe so spinal mount opening or acceleration or accelerator main feed, spinal mount accelerator, just diagramming all of these, pieces of technology that, let's be honest, technically don't exist in most cases. But again, just giving you a tiny bit of flavor that just kind of enhances the game, enhances the setting, which was very, very prevalent in the games from FASA like this. That you would see, they're creating these whole worlds, and not just superficially. They're getting down into the little details. So I absolutely do love that. So I am going to be as careful as I can. Like I said, it is a little worse for wear, but it's still usable. So we'll go from there. All right, so we've got FASA Corporation 1989 for its publication date. We've got about 127 pages of content and about 5 pages, 2 pages of introduction. Starting here. The Leviathan Ship Briefing is a general source book for all starship classifications used by TOG and Commonwealth Renegade Legion forces. 55 ships in 4 classes are covered here, from the swiftest of destroyers to the mightiest of battleships. These vessels are based on the Leviathan game rules which are needed to use this product. Though roles and capabilities of these ships do at times overlap, the briefing offers a strategic overview for all military operations. So then we get just a big capital class ship in front. All right, we also have our galaxy map, dashed lines for independent governments. We've got our Kesrith and our Commonwealth, and the Naram, the Hive, and then the line for the Terran government. So basically, 2/3 of the galaxy. All right. Oof. Some of these pages are a little rough to work with. All right. Commonwealth Grand Dukedoms. Obviously, you can see the war, so the gray represents the TOG control, the white represents Commonwealth control. And then we get into our destroyers. So we have a Renegade destroyer. In this case, it says it's 6 kilometers long. For us Americans, you're looking at about 4 miles there. The workhorses of the fleet, their mobility is their greatest strength. They have the strength to overpower patrol class ships and the mobility to outmaneuver larger ships. They can move in, strike quickly, then evade. It is for these reasons that the destroyer is the favorite choice for deep system raiding. This is also the primary role for destroyer class carriers. Alright, and then we go into starting to look at the art. So, we've got the Derflinger. And just kind of a quick background. Now, this is interesting because it actually gets a lot closer to the BattleTech styling of this type of book. Basically, you're going to have the statistics for the ship. So in this case, its class, how big it is, its cost, engine rating, and then you start getting into actual rules. So we've got our shields, our armor, the weapon types, and then some extra stats. So fighters, small craft, cargo, crew, passengers, marines, any extra rules. So in this case, it's got streamlining. Then we have an overview, capabilities. So they're going to tell you how the unit is supposed to work. Weapon systems that it's going to have, and then it's also going to be talking about its deployment, what the way it's used. So again, all of these kinds of things are flavor text, but also trying to kind of give you an idea on how you're supposed to use this particular unit, how it's supposed to be in the game, which again is just fun. Now, as far as the art goes, I'm actually kind of surprised compared to the Centurion vehicle briefing and the 2 fighter briefings for Interceptor. This is very, very plain art. I wasn't actually expecting that because there's none of the shading, there's none of the detail work, in my opinion, that made that art actually stand out a lot better. So a little disappointing in this regard, but maybe it's because they're dealing with larger ships. I don't know. I haven't started to reach out seeing if I can find the creators of the game, although I want to. I think it would be fun. I think I need to do a lot more reading first, though. And then we've got the Dokendal. If I mess up how any of these are supposed to be pronounced, please forgive me. I have no idea. Another destroyer. The Fulgur. Kind of plain. Renegade Legion, I'm actually used to a little bit more, how do I want to put it? Not extravagant, but, just unique designs. The Moltke. A lot of this is very, very reminiscent of BattleTech. Kind of makes me wonder, if some of these weren't old, concept art for BattleTech aerospace fighters. Then they're just like, we'll make them big starships for Leviathans. I don't know. Again, just a theory. Morcanium. The Serpens, which I believe is that ship that we saw at the very beginning. Nope, but it's very close. The Vondertan. Very, very skinny. That is vulnerable. The Canis. The Sea Adler. Sea Adler? I don't know. The Ajax. Enmity. Exeter. Kruger. The Potemkin. The Vengeance. The Warder. The Hornet. The Illustrious. Now, these are, the last few have been carriers. The Lexington. And that ends the Destroyer section. So again, we get another map. Yeah, so the frontline counties, so the map that we saw earlier, where it's kind of breaking down the gray versus white, so who has control. And then we have Shanadam County right here in the middle, which, if you're familiar with it at all, you'll know that Shanadam is basically, it's kind of like the key setting. So it's where a lot of the stories and a lot of the fiction is based. It does get its own source book that I will look at in the future. But the rest of them are mostly just references. All right, we then have our frigates at 1.25 kilometers. All right, so we start out with the Bantha. Now, keep in mind, this is just a look through of the book. I'm not reviewing all of the different ships. It's more just to be able to look at the art, get an interior look at the book, especially because, let's be honest, it's a very rare book. So if you've looked at the game at all, you're not going to see a lot of this. The Hermes. The Hipper. The Octil. The Xerxes. Okay, so this is the ship from the front. You can tell by this silhouette. I'll prove it. So we've got a much more detailed version, in my opinion, here. But a little bit more because we get the kind of profile view on it. Some folded pages. The Horatio. The Indomitable. We'll unfold pages as we go. The Valiant. The Vici. Vici? I don't speak Latin. The County. And that ends that chapter. Alright, so again, we're now zooming in a little bit more on the map. So we've got Shanadam County here. I forget what... Oh, ADHD. I love you so much. Now I want to know what those other two counties are. So, the Finor County and Kesserdal County. So, obviously they're showing you the actual battle lines for the story. So, this is actually fun. Again, like I said, they give you those little bits of detail that just kind of, dive in expand a little bit more, or I should say focus in a little bit more. That FASA just had it on, they had it on lock. They did so well with it. All right, cruisers, 2 kilometers. Okay, now I'm confused. I think that might have been a typo. No. So the Renegade Destroyer is 6 kilometers. And then the Tog Cruiser is 2 kilometers, but cruisers are bigger than destroyers. And frigates are bigger than destroyers. I think they messed up. I wonder if these are supposed to be like 600 meters, like 0.6 kilometers. Yeah, I think that was a typo. I think that I literally think that was supposed to be 0.6 kilometers, because now as we're getting into the cruisers, these are supposed to be about 4 times as big. And looking at, see, that's where it is fun, where they give you all this information. So the mass on this cruiser is about 2 million tons, and the mass on the first destroyer is a little under 600,000 tons. So yeah, that has to be a 0.6 kilometer for the Renegade Destroyer, or for the destroyers, as opposed to 6 kilometers, because otherwise that cruiser just is like dwarfed by a frigate. Okay, see, read your books, everybody. There's detail in there. All right, we've got the Conqueror, the Invictus, the Seneca, the Shilagash. Now that's just a fun design. I really like that one. This kind of looks a little odd, like this is coming down from this forward part of the hull, but if you look down here, you can tell it's supposed to be 2 hooked over kind of wings. The Syracuse. There's a lot less variety in these ships than I was expecting. The Tyrannus. I don't know why. I like this one. It's very plain, but I still like it. The Vulcan. The Apollo. The Carthage. The Inflexible. Kind of reminds me of a TIE fighter here. Yes, a 2 kilometer long TIE fighter. Okay. The Kardish Ba'ark R. What? That's the best I can do. So the Bone Crusher. This is a Kesrith cruiser. So one of the alien factions. The Kondrak. With some more folded pages. The Nalandam. The Vitak, or Lion. And then we get to the battleship. So we've got another map literally showing the front lines of the war for Shanadam County. So obviously we've got Commonwealth, Tog, contested planets. VLCA, I believe, is the communication system in Renegade Legion. Neutral planets, and resource-rich planets. So they give you some additional information. Again, just those fun little details that you could use for role-playing games. You can use them for all sorts of things, not just Oh, hey, throw some miniatures on and let's play a game. All right, battleship, 2.5 kilometers. So our frigates, which absolutely dwarf battleships. Sorry, folks. Can't resist it. All right, we've got the Colossus, the Illustris, the Mars, the Shiva, the Ultor. I like this one too. You can see down here you've kind of got like an offset, dorsal and ventral fin, but I like it. The Overlord, probably the most plain ship that I've seen in this book so far, but probably massing about the same size as a Superstar Destroyer. That would be my guess. The Conflictor, the Iron Duke. I like this one too. That's the thing. Art is so subjective. I totally get that. So even with things that I'm kind of complaining and whining about, I get it. But, yeah. Again, it's my personal opinion. But at least now you can get an idea and some looks inside the book. The Venatrix sort of looks like a, drop shuttle to me, but obviously it's much larger. The Proelium. This one looks too cool too. Kind of like it's a Predator ship or something. I don't know why. And then we've got some more art for scale. So we've got the Renegade Cruiser, the Renegade Frigate at 1 3/4 kilometer, Tog Destroyer, Tog Battleship, and then we just have an index, so you can just find the particular ship you're looking for, alphabetized. Again, some of this better art. I do think this art is better, and it was just relegated to just kind of some in-between pages. Interesting choices. So that's it. This is my slightly damaged copy. Ad for the computer version of Interceptor, which I've heard you can get out on some abandonware sites, but I haven't looked for it. Very curious to try it out. I have heard good things about it. But that is the Leviathan Capital Ship Briefing. We've got our back cover. I am not going to try and show it to you because of the condition of the book, but clearly it is a continuation of the art from the front. So again, original FASA literally had some amazing design ability. I loved the things that they did. And at my age, it's fun to be able to flash back and look at some of that stuff. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this look through. I know it went kind of fast, but we had 130 pages to get through. So sorry if I didn't focus on one that you liked for a longer amount of time. But if you did enjoy the video, please do give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have all of the books for Renegade Legion, and I will be eventually covering all of them. And I'd love for you to get notified and be able to see when those come down. If you are interested, I do also have links down below for social media where, Facebook and Twitter, where I try to announce when I've got new videos that come out. And that way, if the YouTube notifications don't work, you can find out about it that way. But other than that, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate you being here. And, I look forward to our next video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.